Alright, so we got the rafters all up on there. Pretty evenly spaced, looks pretty good. I have to go get the chainsaw now. We need to cut those boards off the top. Ideally, being on a chainsaw on top of a ladder is not recommended, but I think if I do it one board at a time, we should be able to get across the top pretty easily. Get those ones cut off, get those ones cut off, and then I gotta go unbury the sheets of metal. I have a feeling that they are long enough that I will be able to run the sheets this way and just lay them on top of each other. That's not the way they should go, but I think it'll work good. And then I gotta go find some round tubes. I need to cut a couple pieces of round tube that are going to get welded on right in that hole there, so that I can hook the chains onto it and then drag it with the tractor. Now it's not very heavy. I was able to lift it pretty easily with the tractor and move it away from the wall like I showed you guys earlier. So we're able to get right to the back now, which is great. But there's still not enough room in here for me to get in there with plywood and the drill and screw the plywood in. So, and I don't think I got enough room for me to get sheets on in here without a whole lot of fighting. So we'll get those couple things done and see where we get to. Alright, so once again, I don't recommend chainsawing on top of anything that isn't very secure, but the tractor forks were more secure than the ladder because the ground's not level there and it's kind of mucky, and that looks a lot better. Now we're not above the rafters, so when I throw the roofing on there, I shouldn't have any trouble putting it down. So we're gonna grab the ladder and we got to get this side done, so we'll see how that goes. So I'm going to start the saw down here, put the brake on, that way when I climb up there it's just a matter of taking the brake off and cutting. And hopefully nothing goes wrong, because my wife will murder me. Alright, there's a lot of movement in that up there, so I'm going to add some screws first. Try and keep it secure so it's not bouncing around on me. Alright. Well, that went better than I anticipated. I cut into the rafter a little bit, but looks a lot better. Now when I go to put my metal on top, should sit nice and easy. Can't speak English today. Okay, so next problem I gotta deal with. I gotta get those rings on the front side so that I can hook the chains and the tractor to it and drag it out of here. Or should I try and put the metal on now? How am I gonna get it in here though? I won't be able to swing it. I won't be able to get the tractor in here. If I had the skid steer, maybe I'd be able to. But yeah. So it's coming together. Let's go get, oh, my grinding wheel's right there. We're gonna get the grinding wheel out. We'll get those ground down. My chop saw is over behind the skid steer. So we'll grab that and hook it up, and then I gotta go dig through the steel file and find a suitable piece of tubing for it. And we'll go from there. Okay, so I went and dug through the steel pile, found myself a piece of round tube. I'm going to take a couple slices off it with the chop saw here. And get it all set up so we're ready to rumble. Put our round tube connector on here. So clamp it. So I'm trying to decide how wide I should cut these, because I need the hook to be able to latch around them, although I could always add Okay, I'm glad I went. Look, the openings on my hooks are 1.5 inches, so that's what we're going to make this. Go back 1/4 inch. Tighten her up. Grab my safety goggles. Hot tamales. Okay. One down, one to go. Alright, so there is our 2 rings, 1.5 inches, so we're gonna get those cleaned up with the grinder. I gotta fire up the generator, and we'll get those welded into place. Okay, so check the generator and check her oil. She's kinda low, but she's also on a really big slant at the moment. Coolant's still good. We'll see if the battery works. Use our glow plugs. Everything sounds like it's clicking away. Glow plugs are warming up. Give her a shot. Alright, we went and got the welding mask out of the basement. I've got my ground clamp hooked onto the first structure. I didn't need to clean as much metal as I thought I did. Should have cleaned a little bit more off the top, but we're going to weld her there and see how it looks. And then we'll do the other side. prettiest of welds. I'll grab my chipping hammer in a couple minutes and we'll probably put another round over top of it just because, but we'll go do the other side now and see how we make out over there. But it should work. So I got the rings welded on now, and I was about to turn the tractor around and go get the chains and hook it all up, and then I realized that I can't pull it out of here before I clean up all my stuff. Otherwise I'll just be dragging everything everywhere. So I'm gonna spend the next few minutes getting this all cleaned up, moved out of the way. I'll probably just take the welder and that, and we'll put it over beside the skid steer because I'll probably need some of it for the skid steer at some point. The wood I'm probably just going to leave on the ground for now. It should just scoot underneath everything when I start dragging it, but all this stuff here's got to go. The ladder's got to get out of the way, and then we'll drag it out and see how that goes. Alright, so we got this all cleaned out except for the wood. Hopefully it's not an issue. Got the tractor backed up. I'm gonna get it hooked up and we're gonna see how she pulls out of here. Hopefully it will go smoothly. I should really take the cedar off, but I'm not quite done with it yet, so I'm gonna try and go underneath and around it, and we'll see what happens. Hopefully she stays together. So we got our clevis on with our chains, and our chains are hooked to our both sides. So let's see how my construction holds up. If it falls apart, it falls apart. that's a bonus. Got her out. Now we're gonna go park her over here so I can get her finished. Alright, well there's how she made out. She left some deeper marks, but not terrible. Out here on the driveway where it's packed, it seems to be doing better, but yeah, we're gonna get plywood and get her done. Alright, so that's how she looks. Not the prettiest thing in the world, but the horses don't really care. I gotta go out to the steel pile now. I gotta measure. Actually, I should take a measurement now. See how long our sheet metal is. I don't think I'm gonna try and get the sheet metal on today. It's just a little too windy. I was having trouble with those big pieces of plywood. So if I try and put the sheets on today, I have a feeling I'll be blowing away with them or cutting my hands open or something. So that might have to wait for another day, but at least it's out of the manure pad now. And there's only 3 or 4 sheets to go. So we're getting there one day at a time. It's 23 feet. Alright, well I'm gonna go check the steel pile and see what I've got, and then we'll get back to this when it's not so windy out and I don't blow away with the roofing. But it's coming together. It's not looking too shabby. I think the horses will be happy with it. There's lots of space in there. Should be able to get 5 or 6 of them in this one. So, looks good. Good enough anyways. Good morning everybody. It's bright and early on a Sunday morning. I've got 12 or 14 hours left here before I got to go back to driving school. So I got 8 million projects I got to try and get done today. The first project we got to do, we got to get these 2 piles off of the long pile of sheet metal and get it over to the shelter. As you can see in the distance there, there's lots of work going on around the farm. I've got the guys bringing gravel, and they got a dozer here pushing it all out for me because I'm gone all week. So I want to get that shelter finished and get it dragged out here for all those horses over there, so they can have an extra shelter, and that way I'm not tearing up the new driveway with it, at least for now. So I got the tractor warming up because it's cool this morning, and we're gonna go grab it and see if we can get those unloaded, find somewhere to put them. And I'll have to grab the measuring tape and measure, and we'll grab however many sheets I need. I think it's only 4. I think I can get 4 on the 12-foot span of the 2x4s. So anyways, let's go grab it and get her done. Alright, so I didn't bring a tape, but I got 4 sheets here. If they're 3 feet wide, that should be enough to go across 12 feet on the top of the shelter. So, as you can see, these are only the ones that were damaged, but again, the horses aren't going to care, and I won't be able to see it. So, let's take it over and see about getting them up on top of the roof. Okay, we got our shelter put together finally. So this is down here what I used, the big square tube that's 4x4 165 HSS, which is hollow structural steel, and then this is 4x3 125, that's 1/8 thick, and then these are 3-inch channels that go across to the same thing on the other side. And the roof is 2.5, 215, which is just over 3/16 thick. So, and then it's got 6-inch tabs welded on it, and it just slips down into the tops of the 4x3 tubes. So it's kind of free floating. That way the roof is a little bit separate from the structure. But it's just over 24 feet long. So I think the horses are going to appreciate it. I gotta wait till after lessons, and then Shannon can open the gates for me, and we'll drag it on in there, hopefully, as long as I hit it straight on, because I could easily rip the fence out with this thing if I hit it wrong. But it's not going to get moved too much. Just whenever the horses go to new summer pastures, at least this shelter, I'll be able to drag along with the tractor, and they'll be able to have shelter in every pasture. So I'll pick the worst spots of the pasture to put it on, and let them poop a lot in those areas, and hopefully help build it back up. So once I can hook it up, we'll take a video going out to the pasture. Alright, there's a storm coming in over the hill, so I'm going to try and get this baby hooked up and moved before the storm comes in, so the horses got some extra shelter. Make sure we're close enough. Alright, so we're going to use our big clevis through the chain loop. See if we got it down somewhere. Shelter. See how this goes. All right. the fun part. Yeah, that's... Open the gate. Open the gate. So I gotta make sure I take it wide here, so that when I pull in straight, the shoulder will fit through. It's a good thing they gravelled this, because I'd be stuck in the mud. There we go. Up with all the hay, so I'm going to unclip and then we're going to lift her up, get her up and over that. Should have set the parking brake, that would have helped. Well, I fucked it up. I tried to move it with the forks and I bent the crap out of it. So that's no fun, but it'll work for now. Jeez Louise, can't do nothing right. Oh, and there's some boards that ripped off of that side over there. So it kind of worked. Didn't turn out the greatest, but at least they'll have something. I'll have to see if I can pull that back out straight somehow. Hook the chain on it. Son of a gun. I knew better. I got stuck over there because, like I said, it was pulling all that stuff, and I lifted it up and I figured I could push against it, but I should have gone from the back wall, not from the center here where the weakest point was. So live and learn. Alright, so I've got the chain hooked up to the panel there. I'm just going to see if I can bend that out a bit back to the original shape. that's pretty buggered up, but the horses aren't going to care, so as long as the wall stays together, it's still pretty solid. Should probably have to come in and fix that. Maybe if I backed up a bit, try and hook this more in the center. Son of a gun. Of course, now it's just going to pull it, so see if I can give it one more quick jerk. Try not to rip it right off. At least my weld's held. Well, not really. It's a little bit better, but hey, at least my weld's all held. There's no cracks. Broke a little bit there, but that section held. These ones all held. So, it's not a total loss, but it's not great either. I'll have to come up with a plan at some point and try and fix that up. Come back out with the drill, fix this up. But for today, it'll get them out of the storm. Gotta get these hooks unhooked. But other than my screw up, everything held together except for the boards over there. I don't know where they all went to, but probably as I dragged it through here, they probably got caught and ripped off. And everybody's going for a roll. That's Titan, Oliver. Does that feel good, boys? Yeah, so some of these broke off completely. So I'll have to come back out and fix that, but for now at least they can all get out of the rain. Because it's a brewing over there. Alright, let's get out of here and I'm going to have some lunch.